The games industry has a problem. Yeah, it's got a lot of problems. But what is this particular problem that we speak of?
I thought this was really funny. The same thing that happened to Black Myth Wukong last year is happening now to Expedition 33 this year. You're having these industry events and industry groups that are finding ways to disenfranchise. And yes, I know, isn't it insane? It's like it's so obviously biased and bullshit that I don't know how anybody can put up with this. It's shocking to me, isn't it?
What is this? Is this Expedition 33?
Yeah, bullshit. Yes, it's crazy. Look at it. What? I'm assuming that's what this is about, right?
12 months, a Eurogamer reviewer has apparently
Well, welcome to the deep meta where I react to a reaction.
been haunted by the 5-star review that he gave to Dragon Age the Veilguard. His words are, "It plagues me." His review called it the best Dragon Age and the best BioWare game he's
I remember reading this, bro. Like, it made me...
Dude, it makes me lose brain cells. Oh, man. Oh, I'm losing so many brain cells tonight.
so mad.
My brain is being cooked.
played.
Should've
5
been
out of
illegal.
5, a perfect score, a masterpiece.
Yep.
1 year later, he admits he doesn't think it's a 5-star game, doesn't think it's BioWare's best, says it's been haunting him for the last 12 months.
I can respect...
Yeah, you lied. You lied. Why? To get better clout from the industry?
a little bit of accountability. Yes, it's haunting him like a ghost, the fact that he said this game was good. I think that's what you deserve.
Yet the
True.
score's still up, still there, still...
We tried to tell you, man. We tried to tell you. Like, get the politics out of the games. It's ruining everything.
misleading people.
Sure.
But it gets worse. The same week that article dropped, the Grammys announced...
Well, Eurogamer is totally captured by identity politics and progressive values.
Yep.
So they don't really provide reviews anymore. They provide propaganda. And I think that all of the
True.
review websites should transition to not aggregating critic scores and elevating them or separating them from user scores. I think all critic scores should just go into the same pile as a user score. Why is it that a critic that got hired...
I don't care about either. I don't care about critic scores or user scores. I watch a bunch of people that have, you know, similar views as I do, play similar games as I do, to tell me if a game's worth it or not. Even 6 out of 10 games I love.
For $30 to write an article about why a game is good, why is it that his review gets elevated over somebody who's played it for 200 hours? There's obviously something wrong there.
their best video game soundtrack nominations. Star Wars Outlaws made the list, so did Avatar and Indiana Jones. Guess what didn't? Claire Obscure Expedition 33, one of 2025's highest rated games, arguably game of the year for most.
Arguably game of the decade for a lot.
5 million
Undeniable.
copies sold, #1 on the Billboard classical chart for 10 weeks. One of the best game soundtracks in a decade. Got nothing, not even a mention.
Yep.
Same week, same industry, same broken machine that decides what you're supposed to play. And if you're still trusting these people, then listen up. Dragon Age the Veilguard scored an 84 critic score on Metacritic.
These people, they give reviews for video games based off of criteria that nobody cares about. They're giving reviews for games based off of their representation of minority groups. They're giving reviews for games based off of...
Do you have the trans flag colors in your game? Because that seems to be a running theme.
The graphics of, you know, the tree bark or the ripples in the water or something like that. And again, what is the who cares about a review? Why does anybody give a shit about a review? The reason why reviews matter is because they're meant to inform the customer to make an educated decision with their money. But the problem is that reviews that are co-opted by politics, social perspective, or some other type of ideology are ending up basically overriding the best interest of the consumer. And that's the real problem. It's the perversion and manipulation.
And I'm completely fine with it. If you want games to be like that, I'm just not going to play them. And so many people have the same feelings as I do.
Of a platform for an intentional goal.
Critic. User score of 3.9. Says it all.
3.9.
We all know the reason why by now.
I think that's probably a little bit too high.
Without even mentioning this thing, the game went through multiple reboots.
Well, the game just wasn't very good. I mean, I played the game a lot. It wasn't very good.
11 years, nearly became a live service game, had to be rescued by a Mass Effect team, sent in to salvage what was left. The development was a mess, the writing was even worse somehow, the game showed it. But sure, 5 stars, BioWare's best game ever, according to this guy. Now 12 months later, he admits, I don't think it's a 5-star game, says that when asked if he'd score it differently now, he said yes, I would. Probably land on 4 stars now.
Are you serious, man? Are you fucking serious? Okay.
So you're still retarded. You're just not as retarded.
No, I think this is more retarded. To go back and say, well, I don't think it's perfect. It's still very, very good. I think that's more retarded. Because, like, you broke for the mob that was against you. And you went half-assed with it.
You're saying like, nah, bro. I'm still retard, but like, I'm not like how I was. Like that part of my life is past me.
Which is even more retarded.
Probably 4 stars, maybe,
Totally
but he's not sure. What he is sure about is it's haunted him, plagues him, been thinking about it for 12 months.
Good.
Poor bloke, 12 months of torment. Still won't change the score though, because apparently Eurogamer's policy is reviews are a snapshot in time. You can't...
I think that's fine if you want to say reviews are a snapshot in time.
Yep, and it's just gonna mean that everyone's gonna see that you're retarded and have been forever.
I don't have a problem with that. There's a lot of games that age badly. Monster Hunter Wilds is a great example of that.
To them, not something they do. And of course they don't, right? It's a convenient policy when your snapshot's bordering on a lie. They could add an editor's note, a correction, something that says they got this wrong, but no.
Well, no, the fact is that Eurogamer is one of the most politicized, one of the most biased, and one of the most unfair websites in terms of giving reviews and
yeah, how do they make money? How do they stay in business? Like, who listens to these people? Are they? I think they're all just shaking hands and giving money to each other, and they get all of the money from, like, social media clicks for one. But another, I think they're being driven by people who are handing them money, who are drip feeding them and having them push propaganda in exchange for money.
Giving feedback and, like, any sort of information about news about games. Like, they are basically a tool for propaganda. They're not a video game review website. They are a vehicle for people to use video games and...
By the way, before all of this was happening, before COVID happened, they were telling us that they were going to do this. People were talking about, like, we need to start pushing our politics in culture, in everything, in the video games, in the movies. And people like me were trying to warn people that it was coming. And did anybody listen? Nope. And here we are. People are finally coming around.
Exploit them for propaganda reasons. That's what it really is.
5-star reviews, sits there still recommending the game, still calling it BioWare's best, still misleading people who stumble across it looking for guidance. So why did he give it 5 stars in the first place? Because the system's designed to produce exactly this result. Publishers fly critics to preview
That's not the reason why. The reason why they gave it such a high rating is because of all the diversity and DEI stuff. That's the reason why. If it didn't have any of that, people would have rated it very low.
And they said that they were going to do that. They were going to give extra points for DEI.
It's just basically what happens is that critics and reviewers try to take an oppositional perspective from people.
I don't care if the game is good. It aligns with me politically, so it's 10 out of 10.
People like me or anybody else who doesn't like, you know, quote, woke things in media. And so what they do is that they give perspectives that are the opposite of what somebody like me would give. And that's really what they do. They just counterbalance it.
Months before release, controlled
checked all the
environments,
boxes. Yeah,
curated
just check
slices of the game.
And I think a big reason that a bunch of these woke leftoid freaks even do any of this kind of stuff is to make people mad. They actually don't care if the product is good. They just want to make original fans of things mad and take over their thing and destroy it. And it pretty much worked, but they didn't realize that in order to keep doing that, you need money, and they're not making any money. They're losing a lot of money.
These journalists then leave,
and all these people are losing their jobs, and we're going to send them all back to McDonald's.
Yep.
They're all going back to McDonald's. They're all going back to Wendy's. They're all going back to Taco Bell. They're all going to be doing DoorDash. So it's annoying right now that we have to deal with it, but it will end, and it will end a lot sooner than you might imagine.
And say that it's worth the wait, and of course they do, they have to. Then the review codes drop, massive RPGs, days to hit the embargo date, race to publish first, because being first means traffic, and traffic means money. You play the game, you write it, you score it, you move on as quickly as possible. And if the game's got problems that only show up after a dozen hours, or in the real world conditions that we actually experience, they miss them, or they don't have time to think about them, or they just ignore them. Either way, the embargo doesn't wait. The system produced a 5-star review for a game that's now haunting the bloke that wrote it. The system is working exactly as it's intended. He didn't take a bribe, he just did exactly what the machine's designed to make him do, and now...
Yep, don't do that. Don't be a corporate freak. Be a normal person, or, you know, be anti-political. Be somebody like Asmongold when it comes to games like these. Even if you have different opinions, be like him.
He's plagued by it, just not plagued enough to actually fix it.
Well, I mean, IGN does the same thing. They all do it.
And not just Asmongold. It's like Smash JT, Endymion, Legacy Killa HD, Luke Stevens, like all of those types of people. Dr. Disaster, Vera Dark.
The reason why these games get good reviews also is there's a degree of expectation in the industry, I think, in order for people to cooperate in a way that's beneficial for everybody involved. And so these companies, you know, they have these reviewers, they treat them well, and then the reviewers are expected to treat the company well. That's what happens.
But if you think that's just another example of games media being terrible at their jobs...
IGN gave Where Wins Me a 6 out of 10. We'll see on Friday.
In the same week, the Grammys announced their 2026 video game soundtrack nominations. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora made the list. So did Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So did Star Wars Outlaws. Clair Obscur.
How was Star Wars Outlaws? I don't get that one. That one's just fucking insane.
Expedition 33, you know, the greatest soundtrack in the last 20 years, got nothing, not even a mention. When was the last time you heard someone mention Avatar's soundtrack or Indiana?
No one, because nobody even played the game to know what it sounds like. Nobody cares about these games. They're garbage. They're slop. Nobody plays them. Nobody cares about them. They don't matter.
Indiana Jones's or Star Wars Outlaws.
That's it.
Go on any social media right now and try to find anyone talking about those soundtracks. They literally don't exist in the conversation whatsoever. Now search Clair Obscur and you'll find thousands of people calling it one of the best game soundtracks in years. It hit #1 on the Billboard Classical chart. It stayed...
The more and more this stuff happens, the worse it's going to get for these companies, by the way. There's going to be a major shift. We're definitely going to have problems. Still probably worse problems, but the problems are going to be different going forward. Just like they're different now compared to what they were 20 years ago and 30 years ago, 40 years ago. We used to have a problem with magazines. Now we got a problem with social media.
There for 10 weeks. The game sold 5 million copies, had no massive marketing budget, just a small French studio that made something people actually loved. It's one of 2025's highest rated games, arguably one of the best RPGs of this millennium, a genuine phenomenon. And the Grammys ignored it completely. Meanwhile, massive triple...
Because they're biased. That's the reason why. The Expedition 33, it didn't even make it to nomination. That's correct.
Literally nobody is talking about.
Nobody cares about this game. Nobody played the game. Nobody listened to the game. It's just a complete waste of space.
I don't know of anybody who is playing this game. Not a single person. And I watch a lot of people who stream. A lot of people who are actually in the gaming space, who are prominent figures. Nobody played this game.
Nations. Even the people who were nominated know it's a robbery. Austin Wintory, the composer nominated for his work on Sword of the Sea, said he was sad at the lack of Expedition 33 and said he'd happily trade places. A nominee...
Yeah, I think it's weird that they would give it to him whenever he didn't even say... Why would you even say this?
He openly saying that the game that got snubbed deserved it more than he did. So
yeah,
why did it happen? It happened for the same reason that Eurogamer gave Veilguard 5 stars. Visibility over...
It's a big club and you're not in it.
Yep.
Value. Sandfall Interactive...
Yeah, they kind of came out the gate swinging, but they weren't allowed to go through the gate.
is a small studio. No lobbying power, no industry clout, no ad spend at the Grammy voting events.
There you go.
Meanwhile, EA, Ubisoft, Disney, they've got the big budgets, the sponsors, the connections. Awards aren't about what's best, they're about who's loudest.
Dude, I've been saying this forever. Why do people still watch the awards? I don't watch the awards. I don't watch any of these events like State of Play, the Xbox shows. I don't watch any of that because it's just hype slop. And I don't give a shit. I look through the Steam store every once in a while to see some games that I want that are on sale. Otherwise, get that shit out of here. I don't even care. I'll get Expedition 33 when it's on sale, even though it's one of the greatest games of all time. But I can play other greatest games of all time.
Visible, who pays, who you know, who you owe. Both of these examples are part of the same broken system. So keep this in mind, because if you're still reading day one reviews from these places, you're being lied to. But most of us worked that out years ago. The trust is gone now and it's not coming back, which makes what's happening with indie games.
I think that's also another very big factor, is that the video game companies that have done this they've burned the boats. There's never going to be a point where people listen or take seriously the reviews from these people ever again. It's over.
Yep. It's going the way of E3, where it just kind of falls apart because it becomes too corporate and nobody cares anymore.
And it's been over. So yeah, Eminem curling Grammys for snubbing 50 Cent. Yeah, it's over. Like all of these companies and all of these different media companies, they are all biased. None of them should be trusted.
True.
The only people you should trust are individual YouTube creators, and even them.
I say this all the time. And yeah, you got to like get second opinion, third opinion, fourth opinion.
Should take with a massive grain of salt, even including me.
There are a lot of games that he shit on that I like. There's a lot of games that he liked that I'm just like, nope, you're completely wrong. This is not a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. It's a 3 out of 10.
Even more impressive. When a game like Clair Obscur sells 5 million copies, it wasn't just handed that success. There were no fancy events, no awards considerations, no media access machines churning out hype. It took the hard route. When Silksong launched and hit almost 600,000 concurrent players.
Think about how ridiculous that is. 600,000 concurrent players on a Metroidvania. That's like 10x the levels of success that like you've ever seen. That's nuts. Could a new one come onto the scene and have potential to be trusted? I think that trust is earned, not given.
Steam, 587,000 to be exact, breaking records, crashing storefronts. It did that based on one thing: trust in Team Cherry. 7 years of waiting, no over-the-top marketing campaigns, no lies, just a studio that delivered the first time and earned the belief and the trust that they'd do it again. That's what makes these successes so insane.
Yeah, see, I haven't played this game either, because I don't play hype games. I play what I want when I want.
They did it without the machine, completely separate of it.
This is something that's happened, is that video games no longer require the massive machine that they used to in order to go to market.
Yep. And that's how you get people like me who just plays what they want when they want and don't buy into hype. I don't have FOMO.
Need to have a $100 million marketing campaign. You don't need to pay every big streamer to play your game. If you have a good game, the streamers will play it for free. And do you know why? Because it's fun and people want to see it.
And that's like the new big way to market your game. And it's not to buy the marketing of streamers. It's to allow them to play it for free.
People want to see popular games that are fun to watch be played, like Mega Bonk or Ball Pit or Expedition 33.
Or Among Us or any other game like that, like Fortnite, PUBG. That's how these games got popular. Call of Duty is still popular because of streaming.
You don't need to do any of this stuff. And because those gatekeeping apparatuses are falling apart, you're seeing these different companies that are basically having their, this is their dying thrashes of trying to stay alive and trying to stay relevant. And I think they're failing completely. They are. They're totally failing.
Yep, true. Absolutely true. And we've been saying that it's going to happen. And did they listen? Did anybody listen? No. I mean, a bunch of people were saying this online, like in droves, like, hey, this shit's turning bad. But there's just a constant wall of hate that we have to get through. because there's deniers, there's people that are actively against people like us because they want the corporate slop, because probably a lot of them are invested in the stocks or invested in the game industry. Let's be honest. But other ones, they're just shit eaters. They're dick eaters. They barely play video games. They don't care. They're just like brain dead, just drooling while they're playing games. Yeah, I don't even know. It's fucking weird.